is Red Hot Reds Live. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Strauss.
All right, welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. That's Ricky. I'm Roger. It is Wednesday at 8 p.m., so it's that special time of the week that we have a guest, a guy that's in baseball media that we want to bring on, talk a little bit about himself, and talk about upcoming series they have with him. We got a Boston guy on the show, a guy that's got his own podcast, Sox Scoops, and a Substack and Baseball Scoops, where he covers not just the Red Sox, but all of baseball. Welcome to the show, Mr. Tommy Bennett.
How are you guys? I am honored to be here. I've been a fan of you guys kind of since I found you guys on the Substack. It's cool to see like Reds content. I know that sounds kind of weird, but like it's just cool. Like the Reds, very illustrious franchise, but you don't see a lot of Reds like podcasts or just Reds content creators. I don't know if it's because maybe I'm not in the Reds Twitter space or just the social media space, but it's cool to see you guys doing good things with the Reds. I mean, the Reds are a fun team. I'm very high on the Reds. I was high on the Reds at the beginning of the season. I try to tell my father-in-law this all the time. I'm like, just have patience. I was like, they're gonna get there. There's a lot of exciting things. So I'm gonna talk about the Red Sox, but I'm definitely gonna glaze you guys probably a lot. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here, excited to talk with you guys, and appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate you giving up some time to talk some Reds and Red Sox.
Absolutely, absolutely. So wherever you guys want to start, we can start.
Yeah. Usually we start off kind of simple. We go with our first question that we say to everybody is, what is your first baseball memory or your favorite baseball memory? Or you could do either.
Oh, man, my favorite baseball memory is David Ortiz hitting that grand slam off Benoit in the ALCS. That is my favorite, probably like my favorite home run just in general for some reason. I don't know why. The Joe Buck call always gets me. It's just fun stuff. First one, probably where I could form good memories that I could last is just that 2004 run. Nothing will ever top that for me. And watching the documentary they did on Netflix, they actually did a really good job with that because it kind of told the entire story. I know they've done the I don't know if it's 4 nights or 4 days in October, but they really just talked about the ALCS. But the one they did on Netflix, it told everything, like from 2003, like leading up to that. There's just so much you miss, and it was just watching that back. I'm like, man, this was great. And it just lives rent free in Derek Jeter's head religiously. It was so funny. Like, he's got to do that post game with Ortiz, and like A-Rod doesn't care. He's just like, whatever. Like, but Jeter, like, that haunts him. That literally probably ruined his life, honestly, to this day. Like, he really takes that to heart. So
yeah, I'm sure
that's probably my favorites, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. That probably also lives in the rent-free and a lot of Yankees fans, minds. They see that coming back from 3-0 in 2004. It's stuff of legend. Are you talking about the most recent documentary? Is that the one that's on Netflix?
Yeah. So it's the one. I think it was it's called The Comeback. It just literally touches on 04. They did the one where they followed the Red Sox all last season. Man, they picked a wrong year to do that. They should have totally did that this year. Like, that documentary would be pure cinema. Like, it's cool to see the behind the scenes stuff, but just following this year's team, dude, so much entertainment. And this team's going to take years off my soul. I say that a lot. I'm just like, this team is going to kill me this year. And
wow. Then you definitely know how it feels to be a Reds fan, because that's basically like the Reds experience since 1995. So just taking years off your life, just putting in your hopes and dreams, and
I was gonna add to that. If your birth year is your Twitter handle, we're about the same age. I was born in '92, so
yep.
Unfortunately, like you got to see the 2004 Red Sox. You got the later one with Tito also, and then you also had the most recent one. How does it feel to have your favorite team win a World Series? Because I've yet to experience a playoff run.
we're just spoiled, you know? Like, we just are, and it's just, you've seen how this team has operated the last 4 years, and it's just so aggravating. But then I'm like, there's fans that would just kill to have a playoff run. So it's like, I can't complain that much, but it's more just infuriating with direction. The Reds drive me nuts because it's like, you have pieces in place. You just need to do more, be more aggressive. Like, and they just don't operate that way, and it's really sad. It's
Yeah, it
sad.
sucks.
It's sad. It sucks.
You see, like, the contracts that we've had recently, like 2019, you signed Nick Castellanos, Shogo Akiyama out of Japan, and then Mike Moustakas was kind of like the headliner. And it just seemed like there was just zero effort, like, because that was his first like major contract, because he was like 1 year deal, 1 year deal, 1 year deal, and it kind of feels like there's a reason why. Because once he got the bag, it was just like zero effort. It just didn't care. And then the most recent one, we had Jamer Candelario. They expected him to be like the power bat, but he's never had power numbers. He's always been a 20, I think 22 home runs was his career high.
Yeah.
And they kind of expected him to be this 30 home run guy, and he's like, he's a 20 doubles guy. But we never even got that. Like, we had 8 hits this season, and 2 of them were home runs. So it's like,
God,
we're aggressive when it comes to like just terrible contracts. Like, we'll sign aging corner infielders, and then you know, we spend all of our draft capital on pitchers, and it's just, you know, you got to sign the right guys, and it feels like we never do.
That's like the Red Sox. The Red Sox literally have been dealing with the James Paxtons of the world and signing Giolito, who just tore his arm out. Now, granted, he's had a few good starts, and then, well, Walker Buehler is probably among qualified starters. He has the worst ERA in the American League. It's like, stop signing projects. Like, these are projects. These aren't like, you're not investing in anybody. Yeah, you invested in Garrett Crochet. Well, good job. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's so aggravating, man. It really is. Like, it's so annoying to watch the same thing every year. It's just not changed. And the worst part is I'm a hockey fan. So I'm a Bruins fan. And they sucked this year. And everything that they were bad at is why they lost games. And they never improved. That's the Boston Red Sox in a nutshell. Like, and we'll talk about it as the series, like, preview stuff goes on. But it's just, they make the same mistakes over and over, and it's why they lose, and nothing changes. It is the most frustrating thing to watch, and I'm sure you guys have that in certain aspects of your game too, that you guys get to watch. Unless you're pitching, because your pitching is fun, and I like it. And go get bats. That's it. That's my big thing with the Reds. I just go get a bat. And I thought the Brady Singer one was a really good move. That was probably one of my favorite moves, but he's been so this year.
I want to say he's pitching right now.
So
not looking too good.
I do a pregame show for another media group, and we do, like, you know, pregame stats on the pitcher, opposing pitcher, all that good stuff. And I was looking at Singer's numbers, and in the month of April, guys were hitting like 224 against him, but in May they were hitting like 302. And then so far in June, guys are hitting 218 or something. It's like,
it's very up and down.
It's weird how guys aren't hitting him, but he's still giving up runs, and he's also not really walking a lot of guys either. So it's really kind of odd.
It is odd. That's strange. That's strange, because I was a fan of the move. Like, you were going to trade India regardless. Like, India was going to be out the door, but they waited. But they finally got something that's worth it in return, because gave the rotation depth.
It's a common theme with this team, is we hold on to guys way too long. And like Alexis Diaz, for example, like, we should have traded him in 23, and we held on to him all through last year. And then we bring him back, and then he's just absolute garbage. And it's like, we'll trade you for a 13th round draft pick. It's like, you could have had legit capital for him, but now it's like you get nothing out of it.
Yeah, managers are fun. That's why we're fans, and we like to give our opinions and critique it, because at least we have maybe some answers, or at least we think we do.
Yeah, I like to say that everyone on X or on the internet's got an opinion. Doesn't make them right, but we're going to still put it out there. We actually found each other on Substack, and your Substack been really kind of taking off because you not just only cover the Red Sox, you cover everybody in baseball, which is awesome. Because I always love seeing when you cover the Reds and covering Red Sox.
Sometimes I try to do it because I'm like, you know what, like I want to give those guys some love too, like not just like the players, but like for you guys, I'm like, let me throw some, but like they deserve it, like they honestly do, and I'm a very big fan of their pitching across the board, like Andrew Abbott. If he doesn't make the All-Star game, like we got a problem. We got a problem. And I have a feeling he's gonna get snubbed.
Oh, we hope not.
I really hope not, because he's arguably
we've been like pro Abbott All-Star starter.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously Skeens, just with who he is for one, and then his ability. But we got a new guy in town, Chase Burns. You might want to get yourself a Chase Burns jersey to hang up there next to Paul Skeens.
I've been checking to see if they dropped him lately, but I was very high on that kid when he got drafted. I remember watching the draft, and so my father-in-law, he's a Reds fan, so we went to a game last year when the Red Sox were in town, and he's like, he's just like, man, they just don't win anything. I'm like, dude, just be patient, man. And I'm like, dude, they just got that kid out of Wake Forest, and I'm like, give it time. He's gonna be up there. And I didn't think he'd be up here as fast as he is, but he looked good. I know he gave up the 3 earned, but
yeah, that was on that boneheaded diving play by Friedel. That was just I posted on X. That was me and MLB The Show trying to make a diving catch.
Yep. That was like O'Neal Cruz today in the Pirates game. Like he dove like head first and just missed, and I'm like, and then he just stared at it. I'm like, dude, go get it. Like
he's had a couple games like that.
Yeah, he just turns around and just looks at the ball. I'm like, dude, 2 runs just scored. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's like you're not a shortstop anymore. You don't have backup behind you anymore.
He's got an arm, but like it's not accurate. Like from the outfield, like he threw a couple today that I'm like, buddy, there's no one over there, But yeah, I'm hoping the Reds can make some kind of a run and actually get into the wild card. You guys are right there, though. It's just. There's the Cardinals, and then there's the Brewers that just don't die, man. The Brewers just don't die, and they just
churn magic.
They churn pitchers out. They're like the Rays. They just churn guys out. But yeah, I enjoy covering a team, but then I just sit there and I'm like, man, that's some cool stuff that like they're doing. Like, let's just talk about that. So that's where I was just like, I'd rather just talk about the league than just do like one team.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You got the name, Sox Scoops and Baseball Scoops. How did you come upon that name? How'd you get started with the Substack, or were you doing stuff before Substack?
So content-wise, like I always started with hockey, and I didn't even know really people did this. Honestly, I didn't know. Like I thought it was just like, oh, you got to be like in like actual meet, like you got to be a frontline reporter to do this stuff. And I'm like, oh, people actually do this just for the love of the game, and if it turns into something, great. If not, you just get to sit here, meet some people, talk to people, like that's cool too. And a lot of times the people like talking with people like you guys, you guys know more than the reporters do, to be honest. Like if you really want to break it down that way, like a lot of times, like it's Boston radio, like there was a guy that talked about Christian Campbell. He's like, I don't even know what position he plays. I'm like, then shut up and don't talk about it. Like just say you don't watch it and you're waiting for Patriots training camp. Just do that. At least you can admit that. But I was like, I do hockey stuff too, but I was like, I like covering baseball. Baseball, I think, is more fun to cover. A lot of it is super direct. There's variables, but it's not like hockey. There's just too many variables. Like where baseball, at least it's like direct. Like what that person's doing, and the underlying stuff is a lot easier to dissect. So I made friends with Ballpark Buzz. I don't know if you follow him on Substack.
Yeah.
I made friends with him on Red Sox Twitter, and I honestly reached out to him one day and I was like, hey, like, do you have people that write with you? Like, or do you just do this all by yourself? And he was like, honestly, I'd never really thought about it like that. I was like, all right, well, and then he brought me on to like just help like write Red Sox stuff with him. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, sweet. Like that sounds fun. Like, because writing is boring by yourself. Like it's just you. You're on your own island. Like you don't really get to do anything engaging. But I'm like, okay, cool. Now we get to like sift through topics. We can talk about stuff. Like it's fun. And then he was like, you should do your own, like, to a degree. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do Red Sox if I'm doing it with you. Like that's not the point. Like I don't want to. Like if I'm gonna write it, I'll just write it for you, and then and I was like, man, I'm just gonna do like league wide, and I'm just gonna. It's fun that way. It's just been trying to get creative. That's why I just do pictures of the week, and
Mm.
might get creative after the All-Star break and do batters because I feel like you miss a lot. Like I'd have to figure out how to break it down, but it's just been fun. It's been fun just to watch baseball every day in misery because I'm a Red Sox fan. But it's just fun. Baseball is a great sport and should be covered more. And baseball Substack is awesome. Like, there's a lot of really cool people on Substack, and I was fortunate enough that you guys were probably one of the first ones that I actually came across. I don't even really remember how, but it's just been fun. Everyone's engaging. Everyone just likes to talk about baseball, and here we are. Do you guys do anything else? Like, do you guys cover like the Bengals or anything, or do you guys just do the Reds?
Well, for the Substack is mine, and I usually just cover the sports I'm engaged with, which is like baseball and soccer, because we've got a pretty decent soccer team here in FC Cincinnati. The Bengals, man, like it's a huge, like, they got their own kind of like their media stuff. We've got friends that do that, and they have like their own podcasts, they have their own channels and stuff like that. But it's talk about, I mean, football is kind of like a huge
its own entity, yeah.
Those guys, they have their own, like, I call it ecosystem basically, and we're like, kind of like in this Reds ecosystem that Ricky works for a local media company that he kind of referenced earlier, Chatterbox Sports, and that's kind of how we met. It's kind of like you were talking about, like this void of like coverage for the Reds was kind of missing, because they have like the big channels and stuff like that, but the writers, like you said, can seem out of touch. In fact, there's like a famous writer that gets labeled as a Cubs fan, or I think he is a Cubs fan.
Cubs fan from Mason, Ohio.
Yeah, so he's like hated by the franchise, but he always is writing. Like, he wrote a piece, I don't know if he even got across your timeline, about trading Hunter Green, and it was like,
why?
Exactly. It was just clickbait. It was just
I mean, I was gonna say, I was like, if you're writing stuff like that, you're like, what was the logic? Like, okay, like you trade Hunter Green, great. Are you trading Hunter Green because you think you can get something valuable back, like a bat? Like I'm not saying it would, like, for example, you trade Hunter Green and you get back, like, not saying it would happen, but like a Julio Rodriguez, like a star for a star, like, is what I'm saying. Like, but other than that, like trading, but other than that, like trading him makes no sense. Like, you've watched him break out last year. If he didn't get hurt, he's at least a top 5 Cy Young finalist, maybe a top 3 if you're lucky. But then you have the rest of your rotation, like Andrew Abbott. That's a solid number 2, pitching like a number 1 right now. Chase Burns, like, you bump Martinez somewhere, and then you got Nick Lodolo as your 5. Brady Singer is your 4. Yeah, that's a very nice rotation. The team just needs bats, but you don't trade your ace. If you need like a middle tier bat, trade Lodolo or flip Singer if you feel like you maybe upped his value, but you're not trading guys like Abbott and Green. That's just dumb. That's clickbait. You're just trying to get engagement, dude. That's one thing I can't stand, like, nowadays, like, especially on Twitter. Like, it's just like you just a lot of stuff for engagement. Like, it's just like, if that's how you're gonna be, like, cool. Like, if you got an engagement farm, great, but like, that doesn't make sense. I mean, just say you want to trade Ellie De La Cruz and call it a day. Like, then we know
people that wanted him sit down to single A last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of stuff in the Reds universe and media universe that's just out there. I think it was pure engagement farming, clickbait, whatever. He works for the Inquirer, so it's kind of like they have to get clicks.
I'll give you a couple lines from the article.
Oh, geez.
I got it pulled up. I got it bookmarked.
Oh, that's so, dude. I would have that like posted like every day. Like, see this lunacy? Like,
he goes, the Cincinnati Reds should trade Hunter Green. No, he's the Reds' ace. He's an all-star. He's only 25. He throws 100 miles per hour. He's as good as any pitcher in the game. Yeah, all of that. All of that is exactly why they should trade him now. I was like, okay, this guy is a complete buffoon.
Yeah, but we're talking about him, so he did his job kind of in a way.
Yeah, like you're doing your job, but it's like if this is a team that's like
trying,
media, if you're just trying to, if you're the Reds and you're trying to compete further, like you don't trade that guy. No. You don't do that. Like
and we probably will have a whole show on this, Ricky and I, about like how his contract is one of the cheapest in all baseball, and he's like value for money better than any pitcher outside.
How long is he locked up for? Is he
2030? He has a club option for 2030, and he's only going to be making $18 million.
Okay, so he's locked up for the rest of the decade. Andrew, it's just that's dumb. That's dumb. Unless you're like trying to just, I guess, rebuild. Then sure, but you're not. So you don't do that. That's stupid, especially for a guy that's literally having like 2 of the best years of his career back to back. It's dumb. That's dumb. But good job. But good job to that guy. Like, hopefully you got your engagement, dude. Like, good for you.
Hopefully that article is somewhere in Hunter's locker, and he's working back from his rehab. Just looking at that every day.
He comes back Wednesday, and I'm not excited.
Hey, Red Sox! How about that?
I'm not excited. We dodged Andrew Abbott, but we get Chase Burns and Hunter Green. I'm not excited. Wait. So, okay, Burns went yesterday. Okay, so it's Burns, Singer, and Green. Great.
Yeah. I guess kind of sticking to this Substack thing. How did you really get into it? And do you want to make it like more than a hobby, or do you want is it just going to remain a hobby for you?
I mean, it's a hobby, but if anything comes of it, like that's great. If nothing comes of it, I'm just gonna do it because it's fun. Like, and that's like one thing I've learned because I've been on networks that, wow, DeGrom's got a no through the 7th. Rock on. God, he's so back. But no, I mean, if it like turns into something, it does. If not, it's just fun. I mean, I've been on networks where like doing content wasn't fun, and it just took the fun out of it and just made me not want to do it. So now just doing it, it's like I'm having fun. Like that's all that matters. Like if you're having fun, cool. If it turns into something, like that's good too. If it doesn't, then well, I'm having fun, and I got to meet cool people like you guys. So it's like it's really a win-win. Like, so we'll just kind of see. We'll just kind of see what happens.
It's kind of the same thing for us.
I write through like a small. I guess it's kind of like a fan-driven website. It's called WeLikeSportsPC.com.
Nice.
And it's fun because it's just a bunch of fans that just write about their favorite teams or like favorite sport. There's a lot of wrestling content on there.
That's cool.
I edit for the site. So like there's this one guy, I think Roger, did you meet him, Sirhan?
I know of him. I see all his Bengals take.
Yeah, he's pretty hated in Cincinnati, but I like the guy. He's got really good boxing content.
Yeah,
and
I've seen this.
Like when I edit his boxing content, I'm just like blown away with all the detail. And it's just fans just talking about their favorite things, and it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the entire point. Like you just, if you're a fan, just air it out. Like let your opinions be heard, let your voice be heard. Just you never really know like who's catching your stuff, and it never hurts to really put it out there. Like you may think like maybe no one's like reading it, listening to it, whatever the case might be, but somebody is, and you never know. You just never know what's going to come of it. So you just keep working at it and see what happens.
Yeah, it was funny. I kind of ventured off into the football world the other day. I put one out on Joe Burrow at Fanatics Fest, and it was with him like throwing the baseball. So I tied it into baseball.
That was so fun.
What's funny though is he wasn't even the worst one. There was so many like basketball players and just any athlete just was terrible. Like it's not that hard. At least with Joe, like it looked like he was just trying to throw a football.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, he had like the quarterback motion. I'm like, dude, no, like
he was like rotating his hips and everything. It was funny.
But it went wide left. Wide left. I was like, dude. I was like, no.
You're a multi-million-dollar professional athlete. And that was kind of what I tied into it. But I made it funny at the end because there was a couple years ago in 23, they had the Bengals players there for batting practice, and Joe hit 4 home runs. So I was like, maybe you can't roll out a baseball career after all. And I was just like, ended it. I was like, that's a good way to end it on that one. But
Yeah, we
it's
could put
fun,
it. We could put him at DH. Don't play the field, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Put the glove away.
Yeah.
Don't even bring a glove. Don't even own one.
Just leave it in there.
Cleats and a bat. That's all you need.
You don't need it no more.
It was like, we're going to get into Rafi Divers in a second, but we're about putting the glove away. But anyway, you said that you'd written about hockey. Which one do you prefer to cover, hockey or baseball, if you had to choose?
Baseball's a lot more. Almost baseball is like easier because it's literally in front of you, and you can like if you understand what all the numbers mean, all the stats mean, like it pretty much just tells you like it is. Like it, where hockey, it tells you like it is, but if you dive into the individual players, you have to like dissect it more, and then there's more variables like who are they playing with? Is that person dragging them down? Goalies is kind of like doing pitchers, where it's like here's what they're doing and it's exact, it's precise. Where that's like pitchers, it's like that's what they're doing, and but for just skaters, it's just there's so many variables because you could have one guy who's playing really good, but the rest of his line just is so bad that it's dragging him down. And yeah, but I like doing the baseball. It's a lot more fun, a lot easier to churn out content. I'll just put it that way, like written wise.
Yeah, for sure. Are you kind of a big analytics guy, or where do you kind of stand on that?
I like analytics. I think they paint a picture. Is it like the end all be all? I'm not going to say necessarily it is, but it paints a picture. Like it really does. Like Tanner Houck, I'll use him as a really good example. Like he's been really bad this year to the point where he's just unpitchable. Like he's unpitchable. Like there's really no way around it. They're going to have to pitch him because they lost a couple of arms, but you see like the numbers as to why he's struggling, and he's lost movement on his sweeper. He's lost a little bit of velo. Like that stuff tells you like what's going on. But some people don't really want to hear that because numbers scare them. I don't know if you guys listen to like two podcasts that are really good. If you're like really into like the meat and potatoes of like the analytics, rates and barrels with like Eno Saris, like they talk about stuff that like I don't even understand. So it's cool to like learn just like what they're talking about, because they talk about like Eno was breaking down Corbin Carroll's like tilt for his swing, and I'm like, because that's a new thing now on Savant. Like you can look at a guy's stance, you can see how like what their stance is in the box. You can talk about their launch angle and their tilt, and it's just the way he talks about it, I'm like, I don't understand that. It's like Elon Musk trying to tell me like what he does to build a Tesla. I don't know what I don't know what the hell you're doing, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. But it's interesting. It's like cool to see because it's stuff that paints a picture for how these guys are performing at the plate, other than just here's their OPS, here's their weighted runs created plus, and call it a day. So it's stuff like that. And then if you're into like baseball is dead, like Jay Hay, he is just the research that guy does and the stuff that he brings. Like it's just you learn something for people like that. Like if you're not into that kind of stuff, like you can kind of take away something and understand a little bit of what the numbers mean. So I've always been that way. I learned that doing the hockey content, honestly, because a guy was like, hey, like your writing's cool, but like, do you know what any of these analytics mean? I'm like, no, I don't. And he's like, okay, cool. So we're going to teach you what they mean. And then I just now see it a completely different way. But a lot of the times the eye test kind of matches the numbers to a degree. Hockey's a little different, but baseball, it's like if they're bad, well, here's why they're bad. So
yeah, like your example, talk about Tanner Houck. Like Alexis Diaz was kind of in that camp. His velocity had gone down. He was losing a little effectiveness in his location, and then it kind of just hit the fan. Like Ricky was talking about, like it was inevitable that he was going to be dealt. It obviously didn't get much for him, but it was just kind of like his trajectory was not going back up. It was going down. So
like how they labeled it as like he's hurt. I'm like, nah, you just phantom IL'd him. Like you didn't, he wasn't that hurt. Like he was just bad. Like he was just bad. And I think Walker Buehler's playing through something because his ERA has been like above an 8 since he got back from his injury. And Alex Cora is like, oh, he's fine. And Walker Buehler's like, yep, just trying to power through. I'm like, okay, like what are we doing here? Like. And he's going to make his next start, which see who pitched today. Richard Fitz. He's going to go against the Blue Jays. So, you guys got Garrett. Oh, Garrett Crochet and Chase
Burns
Burns
versus Crochet.
game 1.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Must be TV. I think it's the free MLB.TV game of the day because
that would be like ESPN.
They'll locally black that one out for me.
Yeah,
us too.
Yeah, for some reason Ohio is in my area, and I'm like, it's the weirdest teams. It's the Reds, the Nationals, the Braves, and the Orioles. It's the weirdest, like, and I'm like, why is Ohio that, like, I'm like, what the hell? It is weird. It is weird. Yeah. I if you guys don't know where I'm from North Carolina. So,
okay.
Yeah. So it's just a weird, like, the Braves make sense, but like, you know, maybe the Orioles I'll understand, but the Reds, I was like, why?
That's a haul.
Yeah.
It's a 6-hour drive.
What's funny about that is like Memphis, Tennessee is considered in Reds network, but Chicago, obviously they have baseball teams, but like Chicago's not. Like you can live in Chicago.
That makes no
only
sense.
like a 5-hour drive. Like it's distance wise, it's closer to Chicago than it is to Tennessee. And then I think West Virginia is part of the Reds network too. I mean, obviously, I guess if there was a team in Tennessee, it would probably kind of
I guess that makes
wave
sense.
it out a little bit, but
still
it's weird. Like baseball just needs to fix all of that. And
get rid of the local blackouts. Like, it's so dumb.
Maybe I'm kind of new age with this stuff, but I kind of wish they would just go all streaming and just be like, hey, you have it. Just if you pay for it, you have it.
They were going into this year, but they changed the deal. It was supposed to be like no blackouts.
Yeah, they were going to get rid of the blackouts, and then they never did. And I was really excited. I'm like, great, that's a lot of teams that I can actually watch.
Right.
Sure.
Oh, I guess kind of going back into more Red Sox stuff. What do you recall from like the Tito era? Because we signed Francona this past, I guess technically last season, but this off season. What was that like? Because there was kind of like a viral meme that went around him from his time in Cleveland, and it was kind of like that revolving circle where it's like you are here, and it was like Tito's great, Tito sucks, we're going places, because you were pretty young, like you were probably a teenager when he was there, right? So like, do you have any like memories from Tito? Because I know because you'd be like an adult with him in Cleveland, but you got 2 World Series out of him also.
Yeah, like looking back, he was like an awesome like players manager. Like it's like he almost knew like what buttons to push, and he just knew how to kind of relate to players. Like you saw in that documentary, which like really refreshed a lot of my memory because I forget because it's so long ago. He's a good manager. He's a good baseball mind. And when the Reds hired him, I was like, that's smart. That's a smart decision. I was like, just that alone can win them the offseason because they actually have somebody that can manage. I think some of the Reds' issues aren't with managing, but I think like that's a good step forward. I don't know what the clubhouse is like. I don't know what he's like on the, in the dugout. I don't know what you guys have noticed, but I got to imagine they like playing for him because a lot of the Red Sox guys back in that time period, they liked playing for him, and they enjoyed. He just brought life into that clubhouse and just made baseball fun.
This is an example.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you know this story, Tommy, at all, but this story is like, so he stands in the dugout for the most part, but now he's getting up there. He's in his late 60s. He's
got 70s. A chair from his boat.
Yes. So that just got installed yesterday in the Reds dugout. And ironically, Gavin Lux was complaining because he got interviewed on Foul Territory today that he doesn't even use it. He just kind of stands next to it. So it's like we installed it for nothing. I know it's just one day, but like he obviously is also leaning into it with the hat. He also has an example of like Ellie does the dab when he rounds third, you know what I mean, after a home run. And then now every time that he's in the winning handshake line, now Terry Francona's going like this, and it's like it's just a whole thing where I think he's at least willing to put himself out there. Like David Bell was a bit of a robot and kind of
That's what I'm saying. They needed like spunk. Like you need to like it's like you can inject some life into that group. And that's like a group that has young guys that are fun. I mean, that's a team that made the playoffs like 2 years ago. Like there's potential with them. Like just get them somewhat heading in the right direction. Now it's like you got to turn to the front office to do the rest. But I think Francona is a guy like with that, just the dab thing. It's like that's cool, that's spunky, that's just just relating to your players a little bit, like just getting on like their level because like Ellie's a swaggy guy in like a fun way, like, and that's probably the face of your franchise, I'd say. Like that's your superstar talent. Like strikes out a shit ton, but still a superstar talent.
Yeah. His K rate's been going down year on year, so we'll point that out as pro.
What was the stat? He's got more strikeouts than Tony Gwynn had his entire career.
Yeah, I mean,
he's also on pace to have more doubles by next year than Tony Gwynn had too.
Yeah,
that's cool. I just thought the strikeout thing was insane. I'm like, all right, Tony Gwynn just really never struck out. Like,
right.
It's not really an Ellie issue. It's more just like
a baseball thing. Yeah. I think there was a stat earlier in the year that Devers had 19 strikeouts in his first 30 at bats, and then Tony Gwynn had 19 in one season. It was like, that's crazy.
Yep, Devers had like historically the worst start like of anybody ever to start a season. Like he was 0 for 15 or 19 with like 15 or 19 strikeouts. And then April turned, and then he just became one of the best hitters in baseball, literally.
Yeah. I found a stat this morning. It's kind of comparing Ellie De La Cruz to Barry Bonds. I know, like me and Roger, we had Nick Kirby from Chatterbox Sports on last week. And we were talking about player comps, and I was like, if you just ignore position, like I compare Ellie to Barry Bonds, and this kind of validated me.
Barry Bonds.
It is kind of validated my thoughts. It's through 338 games, they have the same batting average of 255. Barry had a 337 on base, and Ellie has a 330 on base. Slugging, Barry had 474. Ellie's at 462. Ellie's got 56 home runs, and Barry had 55. And then Ellie has 123 stolen bases, and Bonds has 79. So it's kind of crazy the trajectory that Ellie's on. Like if you take away the strikeouts, like he's elite. Like he's
he's elite even with the strikeouts.
Well, I mean, like just like offensively, he gets kind of dinged for the strikeouts. But honestly, Aaron Judge strikes out a ton, but that gets overlooked when you hit 367. But
no, I get what you're saying. Like he's a very elite offensive talent, a pure weapon on the base paths. Like put some respect on his name, basically, is what you're saying.
Like he has all-time great potential.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. He could go down, like if he sustains whatever he's doing, he could go down as one of the greatest Reds ever. Put him in the tier maybe of like, man, I'm not gonna say he's Joey Votto, but like he'll be in that like echelon of like you'll remember that guy for the rest of your life when his playing career is done.
He could be like this generation's Joe Morgan, Pete Rose, Johnny Bench type guy. Just totally different level talent wise.
Oh, for sure. He's got the talent. I'm a big Ellie fan. He hit a home run when I was there, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, that's cool. But that's what happens when Nick Pivetta serves him a meatball right down the plate. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, come on. Yeah, that's another one. He's phenomenal in San Diego this year. It's fucking great. Walker Buehler and Pivetta is just having the time of his life in Petco Park. 10 strikeout day, and Walker Buehler like barely made it out of the first inning. So it's just wonderful. Yeah. Oh yeah, that Angels series is just bad. Like I was talking to my buddies yesterday, and they were just talking about like because Garrett Crochet is on the mound. I'm like, yeah, he'll probably strike out at least 7, and they should win. I don't know if they will, but they should. And I just went on like a rant. They're like, dude, I love when you talk about the Red Sox. I'm like, dude, I'm just complaining about the Red Sox. I'm not talking about them. I'm just telling you like why they suck. Like it's just reality. Like I'm just objective. Like I'm not gonna I mean, I got a buddy who's a Cardinals fan, and he just will talk about just now. Look, they're good. I'm not saying they're not, but like they're not like as good as he's saying they are. And I'm like, I'm just gonna tell you like it is. Like if I told you the Red Sox are good, you'd think I'm stupid. Like because they're not. They're not. They just don't do anything well, and we can get into it eventually. But yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, Cardinals just signed Garrett Hampson off waivers, so they're doing well.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Chaim Bloom's taking over next year, and he's not going to let the guy that's in charge right now trade away any of his assets. So the Cardinals are probably going to do like the bare minimum. If they do trade anybody, I could see it being like rule 5 guys, and then like that's it. They'll ride into next year because yeah, Chaim's going to take over, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm curious what Chaim Bloom actually does with the Cardinals.
Yeah,
considering his tenure with the Red Sox, even though he built the farm system, that is. But it's going to be interesting because I don't know if ownership will greenlight them spending money or anything like that. So it should be very interesting.
What's Theo Epstein up to these days?
He's like an advisor, I think, to like Craig Breslow. Like he's not like in the like building. He does a lot of things like away from the building, but he's like involved. Like I don't think
one of the greatest team builders in like this century.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to like be a full-time guy like inside, but I think he's like I don't even know what he does. I think he's like an advisor. I like forget he's there half the time. We're like, I'm like, did he orchestrate the Devers trade? Like, like who's up there like pulling the strings, you know?
I thought I heard that he was working, and maybe I've got this wrong. He was working with like Joe Torre on the competition committee to like they like helped the 2023 rule changes, or they're working with like stuff like that. To
I think he does stuff like that too. Like his stuff with the Red Sox, I think isn't as like full go as like what maybe like we all thought. But I hate Craig Breslow.
So according to Google, he is currently a senior advisor and part owner of Fenway Sports Group, and he also provides guidance to the Red Sox, Liverpool FC, and other FSG properties.
Yep. So he basically like advises like John Henry, and he basically just if like there's something that Breslow needs to lean on him for guidance, he can do that. It's basically what that borders down to.
If I was the Reds, I'd be like, hey, you want like 5% ownership of this team, and you can just do whatever you want with it.
See, I don't know if John Henry will spend money on that. John, I don't know if you want John Henry to own your team.
Yeah,
you need like a Steve Cohen. You need like a Steve Cohen. You need a guy that's like he's got a ton of money, but he like loves the Reds and just pours all of it into it. That's what you need. That's like what the Padres had. They had that guy, and he just granted he handed Xander Bogaerts $280 million, but he spent money because he's like, I want to win. I love this team. Like that's what you guys need. You guys need.
They've been competitive too.
Oh yeah, they have a good team. They got some holes right now in their roster. But good team. I think a lot of people will probably take what they're doing, to be honest.
Yeah, they kind of dodged a bullet with what's that? The guy they just lost in free agency to Atlanta, who tested positive for PEDs.
Profar.
Profar, yeah. They dodged a bullet.
Yeah, now
re-signing.
Yeah, now they're looking for a left fielder, so that's funny. But they didn't want to pay him, which I kind of get. Like he had a career year, and it turns out he was
cheating,
doing stuff, doing stuff, the fun stuff.
Yeah, the juice. Now, being in North Carolina and being a Red Sox fan, have you like made the pilgrimage up to Fenway? Have you been to Fenway at all?
So I made the trip to Boston one year. I didn't get to go to a game at Fenway, but I did do a tour, and that was really cool. So got to like go inside the park. They do like a really cool tour. You go through like this little museum afterwards. The Reds do it awesome. That was so much fun. The Reds Hall of Fame that they got like right outside the stadium. I was like, that looks cool. I want to do that. Drug my father-in-law in there. That was fascinating. They have a lot of really neat stuff in there. Like they do it very, very well. That was probably one of my favorite parts of that like whole entire trip in that ballpark was going through that museum. Like I could probably go in there again and just stare at all the stuff and read all the stuff because it was pretty neat.
Yeah, when they built that stadium in 2003, they had that vision of like having that wing of like just being museum stuff, and they changed the stuff now it's like we're getting on the 50th anniversary of the Big Red Machine, so like now there's a bunch of exhibits about that in the museum and all that. So yeah, it's kind of like you talk about how like the Reds are the oldest team and most historical team. They kind of lean into that a lot. They talk about like the Reds are 1869, the oldest franchise, yada yada, and they really lean into the history a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and like you kind of should, even though they're like, I guess I don't know if you guys are considered like a smaller market team. Like I know there's like, if you really look at like the big ones, it's really just the New Yorks and the Bostons and like the Dodgers. But I don't know, Reds have a lot of illustrious history. Like people shouldn't entirely sleep on that.
Yeah, we just want more recent history to be much.
Yeah, we want to make some history now too.
Yeah, you want some modern day history, like now. And I feel like the team now like has the chance to like do that. It's just they need to put more resources into the roster.
Yeah, I was listening to a Locked On MLB podcast with Sully, and he kind of focused on the Reds and their media market. He's like, technically the city of Cincinnati is a smaller market, but if you start looking at the cities around Cincinnati and you can start to piggyback off those markets, like you got Columbus, then you got Indianapolis, then you got Louisville and Lexington, and then if you could really think you could do it, you could trickle down to like Nashville and Knoxville. Like you could build kind of like a Midwestern thing, but you gotta put a team together that can win games too. It's just when you have, I guess, the lack of ability to do that, and it sucks because like you said, like it's like the history, like the Red Sox have history, going back, the old trading Babe Ruth, and then the curse and everything, and then like the Cubs with the curse of the Billy Goat, and then it just seems like with us, I don't know if would you think that Marge Schott is our curse, Roger, just because of how I mean she's basically the female, censor the word leader of Germany back in 1938.
Yeah, she won a World Series though, so she's she
did, but
and so she's
sad, I think the curse comes from where the umpire died on the field, and they sent him dead flowers.
Yeah, that's a bad look. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that we could attribute the Reds' downfall to. I don't know exactly if it's all on Marge Schott. There's a lot of. We could do a whole episode about since 1995 what they've done and not done. But yeah, I would say sure. Marge Schott's the easy victim. She's not resting in peace, so we can blame her.
She's burning in the eternal lake of.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I guess we could talk about Devers a little bit. What was your initial reaction to the trade, and were you sad to see him go, or was it kind of like sayonara?
Well, it came out of nowhere. Like I was pretty adamant. Like they had that meeting in Kansas City. I'm like, all right, like seems like all's good. And I'm like, all right, he's not going to get traded. Like, why would they trade him? That's really dumb. Like. And you're feeling the effects now. Like Craig Breslow, if you think like we are going to win more games and we are going to be buyers, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I'm sorry. You just are. It's bad. It's really bad. They beat the Mariners. Okay. You squeaked by the Mariners. You lost to the Giants because you either A, couldn't score runs, or B, you couldn't play good defense, and then you just got swept by the Angels. You're 1-5 against the Angels. The Angels are a very inconsistently bad team. They're not they're close, but that's because the AL kind of stinks. It just does. Like, I just remember sitting on my couch. It's Father's Day, and I am just scrolling through Twitter, and I see the report from, who was it? Robert McMurray, I think, is the one who put it out there, or Robert Murray or something. And I was like, what? I was like, no way. And I sat there and I said to my buddies, and he's like, man, I'll believe it when I see it. I was like, dude, I've checked his page. He's broken some stuff, so I don't know. And it was 5 minutes later, Pass and broke it. And I was like, wow, this is real. And at first I was like, okay, like, this is dumb. I was like, you you lost a lot of fans when you traded Mookie Betts. Like, I've had people tell me that. They're like, man, I checked out of the Sox when they traded Mookie Betts, which I get it. Like, Mookie Betts is a homegrown talent. You just traded your second homegrown star talent in a span of 5 years. Winning baseball teams don't do that. That's just not what they do. And I was like, okay, what are we missing? But it just doesn't make sense. And there's so much that led up to it. And I was in the camp of Devers to really start, because it's like he was down in spring training. He was battling through the shoulder injury. You basically lied to him and you told him, like, yeah, we're not in on Bregman. We're not in on Arenado. Okay. And then you signed Bregman. And I love Alex Bregman. Like, great signing. But, like, communicate that. That was the whole problem. They didn't communicate anything with him. And then they told him, you're the DH. And go put your glove away and don't worry about it. All right. He didn't like it, obviously. He definitely, like, took it personal, which I see the human side of it. Like, sure, the metrics tell you that you are the worst third baseman possible. Like, you're not good. But you have a pride element, like, you're a human being. You have a pride element. Like, you take pride in playing third base. Whether you're good or not, you take pride in that. So, and then it just got worse. Tristan Casas blew his knee out, which I don't think anybody expected that. But my whole problem is you tried to trade Tristan Casas before the season started. Like, you've been trying to get rid of him for over a year. What was the plan, to put him at first base anyways? Like, we'll never know. But when they asked him, do you want to play first? He's like, no, like, do your job. He basically was like, do your job, geek. Like, go do your job. But you don't make that public. There's both sides to the story, but the more he started talking, once he got to San Francisco, I'm like, the trade kind of makes sense. Like, if you're gonna act this way, like, that creates, like, a clubhouse, like, problem, like, and you don't want that. But from just, like, a pure baseball standpoint, like, look, I don't know what this team's going to look like in the future. I don't. Kyle Harrison's not coming up till, like, July 5th. Why? Because it's service time. That's why they're going to wait. You get an extra year if you leave him past July 4th. So they're going to wait. I don't know what Thibs is going to turn out like. Ironically, he was picked right after Braden Montgomery, who they just traded for Garrett Crochet, so I guess you get that back. Jordan Hicks can be a reliever. That's just a cap dump by the Giants, and you're just getting something that's under team control. I don't know what the future looks like, but you're not a better baseball team without Rafael Devers. And you can't blame him for anything, because he never played the field. He's not why anyone not named Garrett Crochet can't pitch. Giolito's inconsistent. Walker Buehler looks like he did last year. I mean, June has been disastrous. He's probably playing hurt. Tanner Houck's been unplayable. Brian Bayo started out slow, but he's been better, which is, I guess, good. But you're not a better baseball team. You just struck out 14 times today, and Yusei Kikuchi just struck you out 12 today. You're not doing very well. You have a sub 600 OPS as a team since the trade. It's you're where are you going? Where are you going? What is your plan? What direction are you heading? If you want to turn your keys to the kids, be my guest. You've been parading them for years. But you're not a winning baseball team right now. You have too many young guys who are trying to learn together at the same time how to win at the major league level, and they do nothing fundamentally correct. Too many base running mislaps. Like, that's been happening way more often than not. They are horrible in the field. I mean, you have more in common with the Rockies than you should, and the Rockies are arguably the worst baseball team ever assembled. That's not good enough. Like, it just isn't. And you're thinking you're going to win more games. That's just you and your ego talking, in my opinion. There's no way you can think we just traded our best hitter for some magic beans and thinking you're going to make a run. And the only reason why you think you're in it is because there's an extra wild card spot and the AL is wide open. But you as a baseball team do not play a good brand of baseball. And that's really just where I stand. Like you losing like you just did to the Angels. I was on the let's wait and see kind of train where it's like, well, let's see what they do between now and the All-Star break. You have a little bit of a cushion of a schedule, but not really. The Blue Jays they're not really a bad team. They're not the greatest offense, but they play a good brand of baseball. The Reds, they've shown that they can play a pretty good brand of baseball. Like, you do a lot of things bad. You don't do a lot of things good, and you haven't been good since Rafael Devers left. That's just reality.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
just my reality.
Yeah, I thought they had a little stretch right after a little bump where they played pretty decent. I mean, you guys swept the Yankees. There was a little bit of
that's the thing. You sweep the Yankees, you feel really good about yourself, and then you trade Devers 6 hours later.
Yeah.
So it's like you were doing this for weeks, and it all led back to the Kansas City thing, and it just is what it is. And they just
yeah. I mean, it sounds like
it is what it is. They're a 500 team that likes being 500. That's just what they've been. They're just a mid team, and they're leaning into the youth, which is great. But at some point, you got to put some veterans around it, and you got to start playing winning baseball at some point. Like, don't be the Orioles. Don't lean into the kids and then not spend money at all, because that hasn't worked out for the Orioles very well.
Yeah, they just won 100 games just a couple seasons ago, and it seems like a little bit like the Reds 2024. The Reds 2024, a lot of kids, some little bit of veteran in there, but they ran in the outs. They did not field the ball well. It was just kind of like a really frustrating season overall, just to be like you said, mid, because they won 76, 77 games. They're kind of in it, but not really. So you just kind of like you want to blow it all up.
And that's the problem with these teams. It's like you got teams that think they're in it. It's like you're really not. Like I don't like to make fun of my buddy who's a Cardinals fan, but I'm like, you guys really weren't in it last year. And like, yeah, you traded for Eric Fetty and then you guys died. That's what's going to happen this year. I've already said that to him. I'm like, you guys are going to play good, you're going to be in it, and then you're not going to be in it because you're not as good as what you're playing right now.
Let's hope that comes true, because we would love to see the Cardinals just.
I think so. Like last year, they did this. They were good offensively, and their pitching was okay, and their pitching isn't good enough to sustain itself. And I'm curious if it does this year, because their pitching's playing well above its head. And then if it dies, like that team's not good enough offensively. They don't have the pieces. They're not the Cubs. The Cubs have too many pieces that are good to withstand their pitching woes. The Cardinals don't have that. They have like 4 guys. That's it.
Yeah. Well, at least we can agree on that the Cardinals stink.
We're a pro Cardinal stink show.
Yep. There's nothing about that team that even interests me, to be honest.
Sonny Gray's having a pretty good year. Ex-Red, Sonny Gray is like 7-1 last time I checked, and he pitched well against the Reds in that series. I think that last weekend, Rick. I can't remember.
It was just over the weekend. Yeah.
So there's one guy.
I like Mason. I like Mason Wynn. That's probably about it.
Yeah.
Did you see the play from? I think it was yesterday's game where PCA caught the ball in center field and forgot how many.
Just stood there. I thought there was I was like, dude. I was like, I'm like that. That ended up really. That ended up being like the winning run. Like, essentially, like when it turned out on my brother, I was like, you gotta pay the fuck attention. Like you're like O'Neal Cruz out there. Like,
oh, that's bad.
Well,
I'm like, you just stood there. You just like held the ball and you were jogging in. I'm like, dude, you still gotta throw it in. Like,
yeah, that's like the Reds yesterday in extra innings.
Ellie
got on base, and then who was it? Steer hit a base hit, and McLean scored, and then Ellie kind of like jogged and rounded second because he thought that McLean was the winning run. But Ellie was the winning run.
He almost ran out of the base path.
Almost ran out of base path, and then he ended up getting back on base. And it very well could have cost the game. But
that's what the Red Sox have done like numerous times. Like there was a point where like Rafaela like ran around second like with his head down, wasn't even paying attention, just got tagged out. I'm like, dude, that's like fundamentally like what you're supposed to do. Like pay attention. Like,
yeah, baseball's fun, huh?
Yeah, this team's gonna take years off my soul, man.
It's nice to know that as Reds fans that we're not alone in like misery, because it feels like, you know, you go on social media and you kind of get put in this little island of like your team, and it's kind of I mean, it's not fun, but it's like you realize that like other fan bases have these issues as well, and you know, except for the Pirates, they're always like that. But
Yeah.
it stinks because you guys have the most World Series championships this century. So
Yeah, we're actually about to go into our longest drought.
Mm. so bad for you guys. So bad.
I feel terrible for you guys.
I'm really to the point where like I don't even like want them to like win the World Series. Just show me you're going somewhere.
Mm.
Pick a lane and go somewhere. Like you didn't sign Bregman and trade for Crochet, give him a big extension to basically suck. And that's what you've done this year. You suck. The same issues that happened last year exist this year. Like you just had a little bit of a new identity with new people. That's it. That's all it is. Like it's bad. And I'm like, where do you go? Where do you go from here? And that's like the series against the Reds. Like the Reds can pitch, and they're gonna have, I would say, 2 out of 3 starters that are gonna pitch, and they're gonna strike the Red Sox out a lot. I mean, Chase Burns, second start, he's probably gonna at least, I'd say 6+ if I was a betting person. Hunter Green's probably going to do the same thing. What's he going to look like after his injury? I mean, we don't know. We'll find out. But that's a guy that throws 100 and strikes people out. That's what he does. Brady Singer, he can put up quality outings. You just don't know what you're going to get. And that'll be the Red Sox second starter. It'll be probably Richard Fitz, and then you got Brian Bayo. And you don't know what you're going to get. But they can't hit the ball right now. That is one thing they can't do. They're not hitting the ball. Yeah. And if you're Roman Anthony, you're hitting the ball really hard, but you're hitting it at people.
I saw the play from him where he kind of whiffed on that ball in right field. What was it? Like it was a ground ball towards the outfield. He just whiffed. But he looks really good. He was a pretty highly ranked prospect, right? Like he's like top 10 MLB.
Top prospect in baseball.
Yeah.
He's been, if you look at like his under the surface stuff, it's coming. It's just a matter of time before he starts, putting up the numbers like the OPS and the average. But all his stuff underneath the hood, it's like if you look at his Savant page, it's just blood red. It's like, all right, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when it happens. Like he had a ball yesterday. He hit it 108 miles an hour, and it literally got robbed of like an extra base hit because the shortstop somehow was able to get a beeline on it right away. I'm like, I mean, what's gonna give? Like, it's, you know what, the kids are here. It's fun, but it's like, all right, let them develop, let them cook. You better have a good winter. That's really what it boils down to. You better find out how to allocate these resources that you recouped because you didn't retain anything of the Devers deal, and just see what happens. But if you do like nothing, then it's like, all right, what was the point of trading him? Like, extend Anthony, extend him early, extend Meyer early, maybe give Alex Bregman an extension. He's open to it, so figure it out. But go get some more pitching. You can't just have Garrett Crochet. Like it's clearly not working.
Yeah, I guess you talked about the series coming up. The guys that you've been mentioning have not been performing up to standard. Do you see them given the Reds? Do you see the series being a good series for the Reds and the Red Sox coming up?
I think it could be fun. Like it depends what you're into. Like if you're like me and you like pitching, like I'm very excited for this series. Like I'm more excited just to see how the pitchers do against each other. Like Chase Burns, Garrett Crochet, that's cinema. Chase Burns has made 1 start. Well, he made the Yankees look pretty bad yesterday, like to start right out the gate. I mean, he's got the velo and it's fun. And if you're a Reds fan, like you should be very happy about that. Garrett Crochet has been, I mean, he's challenging Tarek Skubal for Cy Young. I think the pitching is going to be really fun. I'm curious to see how the bullpens do, like after the starters. Like it wouldn't shock me if the starters do really, really well in each outing, and then the bullpens who's going to prevail, what bat is going to kind of, inflict that damage. I think it could be a fun series. I don't think the Red Sox are going to win the series, but I think it'll be a fun series. I'm looking forward to it because it's going to be fun baseball for pitching. And then whatever happens after it happens after it. And I think, there's fun things to look forward to from a batting standpoint. Ellie De La Cruz, what's he going to do at Fenway Park? That's fun. You got the young kids for the Red Sox. You got some good young pieces over there for the Red. It's just, it'll be fun. I'm more looking forward to the pitching, if anything.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ellie's first time at Fenway.
Yeah, he's never played at Fenway.
So that's going to be fun. That's exciting. What's he going to do? I mean, Red Sox fans, probably, if you've never seen that guy play in person, definitely go do that. Very good treat to watch. He's pretty good at a lot of things he does on a diamond. So
yeah,
there's a lot of good things there. I think it'll be a fun series, though. Honestly,
yeah.
Not really
fun
sure
fact
what
about the last time we were at Fenway. Jose Barrero hit a grand slam there, so it's a little throwback for you. I was reading an article on Chase Burns, and you were talking about baseball savant stuff earlier. Tom Verducci put out an article in Sports Illustrated about just who he kind of comps to, and he compared him to a prime young Justin Verlander, and he kind of dives into the analytics of it, which I don't know what any of this stuff means. So he has the highest release point among MLB starters that throw 95 plus. So Chase Burns, vertical release 6.61. Hayden Birdsong of the Giants throws 95.6 on average, 6.52 vertical release. Ben Brown of the Cubs, 95.7 miles per hour, 6.40 vertical release. And then Ben Kasparius from the Dodgers, 96.2, 6.26 vertical release. And then he compared him to Justin Verlander. 2015 Verlander threw 96 on average, had a 6.62 vertical release, and then Chase Burns throws 97.8 on average with a 6.61. And then extension, they both have a 6.3. And then spin rate, they're only separated by it's 2,576 for Verlander, 2,531 for Burns. So I mean, overall, mechanics wise, he's very similar to a prime Justin Verlander already.
Yeah, that's got to make you feel really damn good. You have Hunter Green, apparently prime Verlander, and Andrew Abbott. If you get into a playoff spot, you feel really good about 3 games. Just those guys. Get some bats. Just get some bats.
That's the thing. We got to
legit
bats. We got to get there.
You got to spend some money.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the Pirates.
Mm.
Not spending because it's we can't do that. We're small markets. No, you're just choosing not to do that. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not saying you're going to outbid the Dodgers who have their own TV deal and just Japanese sponsors for days, but there's a way for these other teams to spend money. And then you have John Henry who has a shit ton of it and it's I don't want to spend my money. It's okay, man, whatever. go spend it on soccer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
With the stat that Ricky, I'm going to steal from you because you use it, is that, obviously Ellie is not even into arbitration, but the extension is going to be crazy big, right? We see Soto's got $765 million.
That's what I'm wondering. How much longer are they gonna wait? Because the more it's kind of like the Orioles with Gunnar Henderson. It's you saw Bobby Witt Jr. get that contract. It's how much longer you gonna wait?
Well, it's because his agent's Boris. He's gonna wait as long as possible.
Oh, there. Okay, just say no more. You're good.
Yeah, he's gonna wait till spring training of the
2029.
Well, that's like Jeremy Pena. He just signed Boris as his agent. He was negotiating a contract with the Astros. They put it on hold, and he basically is like, "Yeah, Boris my age." I'm like, "Well, that price tag just skyrocketed,
Yeah,
for almost no reason." Or you could be like a Jordan Montgomery and just wait until the end, and then you just die because you had Tommy John. There's that too.
Yeah. But the stat that Ricky likes to throw out there is that his contract is going to be north of Soto's, no matter what, right? Just because of time, and someone's going to bid on that. But our owner, Bob Castellini, his net value is only $400 million. There's no way he signed a contract worth more than his net worth. So the cynical answer to you were asking, like, how long are they going to wait? They're going to wait till Jeff Bezos buys the team, because that's basically the only guy that could probably afford Ellie in Cincinnati, and that's kind of the unfortunate truth. Unless the CBA changes things, we're kind of like counting down the days of December 1st, 2026, because salary cap might be the only thing that may save Ellie in Cincinnati, to be honest with you.
And even then, it's going to take two to tango. Like, he's going to have to want to be here too. Like, he said that he loves LA and he loves New York and he loves those big cities. So
he plays really well against the Dodgers and the Yankees for some reason. It's just weird,
Yeah. He's had a pretty bad game today. I've been kind of peeking.
Oh man, don't say that, because like Lindor eventually might, like, because he's getting up there. Stevie Cohen's
he might be
like, hey, dude, he would be. God, he'd be. Well, yeah.
Somebody was saying that the Red Sox could be like that one team that sneaks in and grabs them, because it's going to be around the time, 2029 going into 2030. Like, your guys' top prospects are going to be more established, and then like you would just need that vet, and then like Ellie would be that vet. And it seems like shortstop for you guys is not really locked up at the moment. So I mean, he could be.
Trevor Story does the Lord's work and opts out. Marcelo Meyer just slides right there. Just that's it. Bregman at third, Meyer at short. If Story opts in, just plug him at second and just call it a day. That's what I would do.
Yeah. I don't know. The Ellie story, we'll see. I mean, we're hoping against hope to see that he stays in Cincinnati, but there's a very small percentage if we are operating the way baseball operates today, basically, because unfortunately he could be the first billion-dollar player. Like, no joke.
That's that's why the Paul Skeens stuff started, because it's like, all right, like, he's really good. The Pirates are not going to pay him his market value, so trade him now. Which I think that's dumb, but also he's not going to stay there. No. I think he waits for Scooball to get his deal, and then he just bides his time, and then he just surpasses it, because Scooball's going to get like a $400 million deal. And he probably might get it from the Tiger. Oh yeah, Skeens has to just love that Golden Bridge or something. Like, there's just there's just no way. Like, unless they start winning, there's just no way. And they're probably gonna trade Mitch Keller just to bring up Bubba Chandler and just have this revolving door. It's just feel for Pirates fans. I do. You just got gifted a generational talent, and you're doing nothing with it.
They're already talking to trading him. He's been with the team for one full season.
Yeah, that already happened, and we that was before the midway point of this season. That's crazy to me, man. That's crazy.
He's the kind of player you trade. I'm obviously, if he's on my team, I'm not trading him. I'm holding on till at least with 1 year of team control. But I just imagine, like you said with Hunter Green, his trade value would be a 3-team trade, and you're getting Julio Rodriguez and Aaron Judge.
Well, that's your
two you're getting.
And they just put all these packages together. I'm like, okay, first of all, if the Pirates took, no offense to the Yankees, and I'm not saying this to a Red Sox fan, but they have nothing to offer. Their prospect pipeline has nothing in it. So you're trading guys that are on the existing roster just to get that guy. So you're trading Dominguez and probably Ben Rice. That's where I'd start. And then Spencer Jones, who's probably your best outfield currently in the minors. Okay, you have nothing left.
And that's not even enough. I wouldn't take that.
That's not even enough. The Pirates aren't going to take that. It's just dumb. It's just redundant. It is what it is. But yeah, it's going to be a long conversation until he actually gets moved. And yeah, he's got a while. He's got a lot of team control left.
2030, I think.
Yep, he's got the rest of the decade.
Well, I guess that's one reason to watch Pirates games is just for Skeens for the next 5 years. But,
Yep.
Yeah, Rick, you have any other questions, anything for our guest?
No, not really. Just really appreciate you coming on. You've been a really cool guy to talk to, and door's always open if you want to come back on in the future. We're always open. Yeah. And
if you put it this way, you message me, I come on. It's as simple as that. Like, you guys are really cool. You guys have been cool just on the Substack in general, just being engaging, and you guys have followed me on Twitter and we've just talked a little bit. But you guys are awesome. Like, you guys do a really good job, and you guys should be proud of yourselves for like bringing good Reds content. Like, because it's cool to see Reds content. Like, that's something it's kind of why I gravitate you guys. I'm like, okay, like there's Reds content out here. Like, this is awesome. So you guys do a really good job. Thanks for having me on. Like, I enjoyed it. You guys are awesome. So yeah, anytime you want me to come on, just send me a message and we'll make it happen.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Tommy, again. Check him out on Substack. Baseball Scoops there. TJ Bennett on X, right?
Yep.
And yeah, check out his stuff. He's a Red Sox guy, but hey, it sounds like he's a huge Reds fan. Like, how about that?
I will be an honorary inductee to your Reds community.
You are a Red Sox and Red Stockings fan.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful combination.
Exactly. Yeah, but thank you for your time here, and yeah, we'll be in touch. And go Reds.
Go Reds.
Reds.
Take it easy.
Red hot. With the Reds. Red hot. With the Reds.